Hello, this is the Bold and Beautiful channel. Did you know that Titanic's production budget was so massive it exceeded the cost to construct the original ship? While the real Titanic's price tag was a hefty $7.5 million in 1910, the film's budget ballooned to an astonishing $200 million. This staggering sum caused quite a stir, putting immense pressure on the filmmakers. Can you just fathom the kind of weight that would put on your shoulders? Imagine the pressure of creating a film more expensive than the ship it's based on. The Heart of the Ocean wasn't just a Hollywood invention. The iconic blue diamond necklace was actually inspired by the Hope Diamond, a gem with a history as deep and fascinating as the ocean itself. The Hope Diamond is one of the most famous jewels in the world, with ownership records dating back almost 4 centuries. Its much-admired rare blue color is due to trace amounts of boron atoms. The Hope Diamond is believed to have originated in India, where the original larger stone was purchased in the 17th century by gem merchant Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. Over the years, the diamond has passed through numerous owners and has been recut and reshaped. It's been associated with a curse, with stories of misfortune befalling those who owned it. In the film, the Heart of the Ocean represented eternal love. In reality, the Hope Diamond is a symbol of our fascination with beauty, wealth, and mystery. So, a piece of history was indeed embedded in the film's narrative. The iceberg that sank the Titanic was real. Now that's a statement that might have you scratching your head. How could filmmakers in the late 90s manage to use a real iceberg in a movie? Well, it's not as far-fetched as it sounds, and it's one of the fantastic secrets that make the film Titanic so compelling. The filmmakers were committed to authenticity, and so in the pivotal iceberg scene, they used a real iceberg. Not in the literal sense, of course. They didn't tow an iceberg into a movie set, but they did use footage of genuine icebergs captured in the frigid North Atlantic and seamlessly integrated it into the movie. This commitment to realism brought an added layer of tension and drama to the scene. It was a chilling touch of reality that served to heighten the sense of impending doom and made the viewer's experience all the more visceral. So, the filmmakers brought a chilling touch of reality to the film. There was a real Jack Dawson on the Titanic. Now that's a piece of trivia to raise some eyebrows. The character played by Leonardo DiCaprio in the 1997 blockbuster Titanic was not entirely a figment of James Cameron's imagination. The real Jack Dawson was not an artist or a vagabond, but a coal trimmer in the engine room, a job that required physical strength and stamina. Born in September 1888 in Dublin, Ireland, Dawson had been working on transatlantic liners for a few years before boarding the Titanic. Unfortunately, his story didn't end with a dramatic and heart-wrenching fight for survival. The real Jack Dawson did not make it off the doomed ship. His body was recovered by the cable ship Mackay Bennett, and he was buried at Fairview Lawn Cemetery in Halifax, Canada. So the character of Jack wasn't entirely fictional. His name and his tragic fate were very much real. The grand staircase was an exact replica of the original. Yes, you heard it right. The film crew went to extraordinary lengths to ensure the authenticity of the grand staircase. The intricate details, the ornate carvings, the plush carpeting, every aspect was meticulously crafted to mirror the original design. The team behind the production left no stone unturned. They dove into research, studying archival photographs and blueprints, consulting historians, and even tracking down surviving artifacts. The result? A breathtaking monument to the past, a monument that stood as a testament to the opulence and grandeur of the Titanic. This painstaking attention to detail wasn't merely for the sake of accuracy. It was a deliberate choice, a way to transport the audience back in time, to let them step into the shoes of the Titanic's passengers. Every time a character ascended those steps, they weren't just climbing a set piece, they were walking through history. So the grandeur you see is as real as it gets. The film spent more time underwater than the Titanic did. A fascinating fact indeed. The Titanic's tragic journey beneath the waves lasted a mere 2 hours and 40 minutes. Yet the creation of the film's underwater scenes took much, much longer. The crew spent countless hours submerged, capturing every detail with meticulous precision. The film's director, James Cameron, is known for his passion for the deep sea. This passion is evident in the painstaking effort to recreate the ghostly underwater world of the sunken ship. From the hauntingly beautiful images of the ship's remains to the heart-stopping moments of the sinking, the underwater scenes were integral to the film's emotional impact. Every bubble, every ripple, every floating piece of debris was carefully planned and executed. The result, scenes so realistic they transport the viewer to the depths of the ocean, making them a part of Titanic's timeless story. Talk about going the extra mile, or should we say the extra fathom. The filmmakers literally went deep for authenticity. Extra actors had to take etiquette classes. That's right, folks. The filmmakers of Titanic went above and beyond to ensure that every detail was period appropriate. The film aimed to transport us back to 1912, and that mission extended to the smallest details and the most seemingly insignificant characters. Picture this. Hundreds of extras who had no dialogue or major scenes were sent to etiquette classes. They learned how to walk, talk, eat, and even how to carry themselves like the upper-class passengers of the early 20th century. They practiced the proper way to hold a teacup, how to use an array of silverware, and the art of genteel conversation. All these efforts were made to create a convincing backdrop for our leads, Jack and Rose. These unsung heroes of the Titanic film, the extras, brought authenticity and depth to the scenes. Their training was instrumental in creating the believable world of Titanic. So even the extras were not so extra after all. The actress who played the oldest Rose was older than the Titanic. Yes, that's right. Gloria Stewart, the actress who graced our screens as the elderly Rose, was born on the 4th of July in 1910, a full 2 years before the Titanic would make its ill-fated voyage. Stewart was a remarkable 87 years old when she took on the role of Rose, a survivor of the Titanic disaster. Her performance was not just a testament to her acting prowess, but also an ode to her enduring spirit and energy. In fact, it's quite fascinating to think that Stewart was not only portraying a character who survived the Titanic, but was herself a living entity older than the ship. Her experiences, both in life and in the film industry, undoubtedly added layers of authenticity and depth to her portrayal of Rose. So the oldest Rose was indeed older than the ship she survived. The water in the film was heated. Quite an unexpected revelation, isn't it? Yet it's true. The iconic scenes of icy doom were shot in relatively warm water. But why go through all this trouble to heat the water? The answer is simple: for the comfort of the actors. Filming can become an arduous process, particularly for scenes as intense as those in Titanic. Spending hours in cold water would not only have been an ordeal for the actors, but could also have led to serious health risks. Heating the water was a considerate move from director James Cameron, ensuring that his actors could perform at their best without being physically uncomfortable. This decision didn't affect the authenticity of the scenes, as the steamy breath was added in post-production. So, the next time you watch Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet fighting for survival in the icy waters, remember, the water was not as cold as it looked. Many of the props were authentic antiques. Now that's a fascinating fact about the Titanic movie. The filmmakers went to extraordinary lengths to ensure historical accuracy, and that extended to the props. From the intricate china patterns to the ornate furniture, many of these items were not mere reproductions but genuine antiques from the early 20th century. Every prop was meticulously chosen to reflect the time period and to help create a realistic and immersive experience for the audience. The silverware, the lamps, the books, even the deck chairs, all were sourced from antique shops, auctions, and private collections. This commitment to authenticity was not just about visual appeal. It was about capturing the spirit of an era, the essence of a time long gone. And it's this attention to detail that made the Titanic more than just a movie. It's a time capsule, a window into the past. So the film was a treasure trove of real antiques. The ship was built to scale. In the realm of film, where illusion and reality often blur, this is a statement of monumental effort. When it came to the production of Titanic, director James Cameron wasn't satisfied with half measures. He wanted authenticity. So, the ship was built to scale, a perfect replica of the original Titanic, right down to the smallest detail. The construction of the ship for the film was an enormous undertaking, involving hundreds of skilled craftsmen and women. Every rivet, every piece of wood, every piece of glass was meticulously crafted and placed to recreate the grandeur of the original ship. It was a labor of love, a testament to the dedication and passion of the film crew. The result was a ship that wasn't just a set piece, but a character in its own right, a living, breathing entity that conveyed the majesty and tragedy of the Titanic. So, the ship was as real as it looked. The script was written in a mere 5 weeks. That's right, the screenplay that brought the Titanic back to life was penned in just over a month. The writer, James Cameron, didn't just sit down and start writing. He immersed himself in the history of the doomed ship, devouring every book and documentary he could find. He visited the ship's final resting place, 2.5 miles below the surface of the icy North Atlantic. There, he found inspiration in the haunting images of the ship's wreckage. Cameron's dedication didn't stop there. He conducted interviews with maritime historians and Titanic survivors, their stories breathing life into the characters. He meticulously researched the ship's design, every room, every corridor, every detail, to ensure the script's authenticity. It was a labor of love, a tribute to those who perished and those who survived. So, the script that moved millions was written in just over a month. That's the power of dedication and passion. The sound of the ship creaking was real. That's right, in their quest for authenticity, the filmmakers of Titanic went to great lengths to capture the true essence of the ship's sounds. They didn't rely on the artificiality of computer-generated sounds or settle for stock audio. Instead, they turned to real life, recording the sounds of actual ships. Every groan of the hull, every clank of machinery, every whisper of the sea against the ship's sides, these were all captured from the source. This dedication to detail extended even to the smallest sounds, such as the gentle clinking of china or the rustle of clothing. The result? An auditory experience that truly immerses the viewer in the world of the Titanic. You're not just watching the movie, you're there, on board the ill-fated ship, surrounded by the symphony of sounds that were part of its brief existence. So the sounds you hear are as real as they can get. A real survivor was offended by the film. It's hard to believe, isn't it? The Titanic film, a cinematic masterpiece that stirred the hearts of millions worldwide, wasn't universally loved. And one of the harshest critics was someone who had lived through the real-life tragedy. Meet Milvina Dean, the youngest passenger on the Titanic, a mere 2 months old when the ship met its doom. She survived the disaster and lived a long life, passing away in 2009. When James Cameron's Titanic premiered in 1997, she was one of the few real survivors left. And guess what? She wasn't exactly charmed by the Hollywood rendition of her life's most traumatic event. Dean was particularly offended by the fictional love story woven into the narrative. She felt it trivialized the horrific tragedy, turning it into a backdrop for a romantic tale. Her critique serves as a reminder that, despite the film's success, it's still a dramatized version of a very real disaster, so not everyone was a fan of the film. Titanic tied for the most Oscar nominations ever. It's an accolade that speaks volumes about the film's caliber. The 1997 blockbuster didn't just make waves at the box office, but it also docked comfortably at the harbor of critical acclaim. The film received an astounding 14 Oscar nominations, a feat matched only by 2 other films, All About Eve in 1950 and La La Land in 2016. The film didn't just earn nominations, it also converted them into wins. Titanic sailed away with a remarkable 11 Academy Awards, including the coveted Best Picture and Best Director for the visionary James Cameron. It was a night of glitz, glamour, and glory for the entire Titanic crew. From the hauntingly beautiful score to the intricate production design, the film's excellence was recognized and honored in numerous categories. So Titanic was not just a commercial success, but a critical one too. A true testament to the enduring appeal and impact of this cinematic masterpiece. Let's take a quick look back at the fantastic secrets we've uncovered about Titanic. We've delved into the staggering budget that backed the film's creation and the real heart of the ocean that sparked 1,000 romantic dreams. We've explored the chilling iceberg scene, the true story of Jack Dawson, and the grandeur of the film's iconic staircase. We've dived into the time spent underwater during filming, the effort behind coordinating the extras, and the woman who inspired the oldest rose. We've navigated through the water scenes, the painstakingly crafted props, and the ship's construction. We've decoded the script, tuned into the sound design, and met a real survivor whose story echoes in the film's narrative. Lastly, we've celebrated the film's triumph at the Oscars. So the Titanic film was not just a cinematic triumph, but a treasure chest of fascinating secrets.